Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you all are well and safe. So, in our class, we have completed half lesson from Climate of India. So, today I am going to complete the remaining part of the lesson. So, if you see in your textbooks, advancing monsoons. So before that we have seen different types of seasons like winter, summer in detail. So here the next is advancing monsoons. The climate of India is strongly influenced by the monsoon winds. The sailors who came to India during olden days noticed the regular periodic reversal of winds. They used these winds to sail towards the Indian coast. Arab traders named these seasonal reversal of wind system as monsoon. So how do we get this name monsoon is the Arab traders who were traveling by seeing these seasonal reversal of wind, they have given the name monsoon. So the climate of India is strongly influenced by what? Monsoon winds. So, generally, the sailors who came to India during olden days, they have observed that regular periodic reversal of winds are taking place. So, they use these winds to sail towards the Indian coast. So, the monsoon forms in the tropical area approximately between 20 degrees north and 20 degrees south latitudes. The southeast monsoon winds from the southern hemisphere carry moisture as they flow over the Indian Ocean and towards the equatorial low pressure zones. After crossing the equator, these winds deflect towards the low pressure formed in the Indian subcontinent. The heating of land creates low pressure on the landmass of Indian subcontinent, especially over central India and the Gangetic Plain. Along with this, the Tibetan Plateau gets intensely heated and causes strong vertical air currents and the formation of low pressure over the plateau at above 9 kilometers altitude. So we have seen that most of the sailors they uh, use these monsoons to travel towards Indian coast, and some Arab traders has named this season as monsoon. So in this monsoon it is formed monsoon forms in the tropical area. Where it is formed in the tropical area between approximately between 20 degrees north and 20 degrees south latitude. So means between north and south latitudes this monsoon is formed. So the southeast monsoon winds from the southern hemisphere, they carry moisture and they flow over the Indian Ocean and towards the equatorial low pressure zones. After crossing the equator, these winds again deflect towards the low pressure and which are formed in the Indian subcontinent. Along with that, the heating of land creates low pressure on the land masses of Indian subcontinent. So especially over central India and the Gangetic plains. These winds are caused when these lands are heated up, and this low pressure, the heating of land creates low pressure. So when this central India and Gangetic plains are heated up, low pressure was created on this land masses. So along with this, what happened? The Tibetan plateau also gets intensely heated and causes strong vertical air currents. So along with central India and Gangetic plains, Tibetan plateau also gets heated and it causes strong vertical air currents and the formation of low pressure over the plateau above 9 kilometers altitude. They then flow as the southwest monsoon. The Indian peninsula divides them into two branches, the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. The Bay of Bengal branch strikes the Bengal coast and the southern face of the Shillong Plateau. Then it gets deflected and flows westward along the Gangetic Valley. The Arabian Sea branch arrives at the west coast of India and moves northward. Both the branches reach India by the beginning of June, which is known as the onset of monsoon. They gradually spread over the entire country in 4 to 5 weeks. The bulk of annual rainfall in India is received from southwest monsoon. The amount of rainfall is very high along the west coast due to the Western Ghats and in northeast India due to the high peaked hills. Tamil Nadu coast, which is also called as Coromandel, however, remains mostly dry during this season as it is in the rain shadow area of the Arabian Sea branch and is parallel to the Bay of Bengal branch. So what is happening here? Flow then they then flow as the southwest monsoon. So when this Tibetan Plateau, Indian coast, central India, and the Gangetic Plains, when these three get heated up and a low pressure formation of this low pressure over the plateau is formed at 9 kilometers of altitude. So what will happen here? They will float as the southwest monsoon. So the Indian peninsula, so the Indian peninsula divides these southwest monsoons into two branches, like the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. So the two branches is Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. So this Bay of Bengal branch strikes the Bengal coast and the southern face of the Shillong Plateau. You all know where is Bay of Bengal. So this Bay of Bengal branch, what it will do, it will strike the Bengal coast and also the southern face of the Shillong Plateau. Then it gets deflected and flows westward along the Gangetic Plain. So when this branch strikes Bengal coast and southern face of the Shillong Plateau, they gets deflected and they flows to which side? Westward, and westward along the Gangetic Valley they will flow. So the Arabian Sea branch arrives at the west coast of India and moves northward. So this Arabian Sea branch, what it will happen? It arrives at the west coast of India and it moves towards north. So both these branches reach India by the beginning of the month June. So which we also call it as onset of monsoon. So they gradually spread over the entire country in 4 to 5 weeks. So after that we'll be getting the bulk of annual rainfall in India is received from southwest monsoon. Generally in June rainy season will start. So these rains are formed by what? Arabian Sea branch and Bay of Bengal branch. When they both deflects and when they reach uh, India by the big, and these two branches they get deflected, Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. When they get deflected and when they reach India, it will be June. So by the month of June they will reach, which is also called as onset of monsoon, and they spread over the entire country in 4 to 5 weeks. So in that time we will be having bulk of annual rainfall in India, which is received from southwest monsoons. The amount of rainfall is very high along the west coast due to the western ghats. So the rainfall which is received in the west coast is very high because of the western ghats, and in the northeast India due to the high peaked hills, whereas in northeast India, as it is having high peaked hills, so they too will be having heavy rainfalls. In Tamil Nadu, which is called as Coromandel Coast, it remains mostly dry because it is in the rain shadow area of the Arabian Sea branch and is parallel to the Bay of Bengal branch. Retreating monsoon. October to November is a period of transition from hot wet conditions to dry winter conditions. The retreat of the monsoons is marked by clear skies and rise in temperature. The land is still moist owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity. The weather becomes rather oppressive. This is commonly known as October heat. So, what is retreating monsoon here is in the month of October and November, the period of transition from heat wet conditions to dry winter conditions. So in this 2 months, October and November, the climatic conditions they transfer from hot wet to dry winter conditions. So the retreat of these monsoons is marked by clear skies and rise in temperature. Even you can observe after rainy season we'll be having clear skies with high temperatures. So that is what here the retreating of monsoons is. And the land is still moist. Owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity, the weather becomes rather oppressive. This is commonly known as October heat. After the rainy season, some days will be feeling heavy this full temperatures. So that is what called as October heat. The low pressure conditions which once prevailed over northwestern India move far south to the center of the Bay of Bengal by early November. During this period, cyclonic depressions are common which originate over the Andaman area. These tropical cyclones are often very destructive. The thickly populated deltas of the Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri are their targets. No year ever goes disaster free. Occasionally, these tropical cyclones visit Sundarbans and Bangladesh too. Bulk of the rainfall of the Coromandel coast is derived from depressions and cyclones. So, here the low pressure conditions which once prevailed over northwest India move far south to the center of Bay of Bengal by early November. So what will happen here is the low pressure conditions which are prevailed in northwest part of India, they move towards the south to the center of Bay of Bengal by which month? By November. So during this period generally we'll be having cyclonic depressions which are mainly originated in Andaman area. So these tropical cyclones are often very destructive. Generally, even in news also we see because of cyclones, so many states are submerged. So many states are suffering with heavy rainfall. So many people lost their home, parents. Like that we have seen. So here these are because of this cyclonic destructive because these cyclones will destruct everything. This destruction is caused by cyclones. So no year ever goes disaster free. Disaster free means because of these cyclones. I told you So many people become homeless, so many people die, uh, so many people remain as orphans. So all these comes under disaster. So these cyclones will never leave these people disaster free. And this occasionally these tropical cyclones also visit Sundarbans and Bangladesh also. Bulk of the rainfall of the Coromandel coast is derived from depressions and cyclones. So we have seen before also in Coromandel coast it remains dry as it is in the rain shadow region. So when this cyclones occurs, they'll be having the bulk, whatever the rainfall, the bulk of the rainfall it will receive, and it will derive from depressions and cyclones. In the Indian tradition, a year is divided into six 2 monthly seasons. This cycle of seasons that people in North and Central India follow is based on their practical experience and age old perception of weather phenomena. There is a slight variation in the timing of the seasons between northern and southern India. So, here, according to the Indian tradition, year is divided into six seasons. Means each season will be having 2 months. So generally, according to ours, according to English calendar, we have three seasons: rainfall, winter, and summer. So here we have six seasons, each with 2 months, and the cycle of seasons uh, that people in North and Central India follow is based on their practical experience and age old perception of weather phenomena. So, there is a slight variation in the timings of the seasons between the northern and the southern hemisphere. So, see here the traditional Indian seasons. Seasons, months according to the Indian lunar calendar, months according to the Western Georgian calendar. Seasons, Vasanta, and months are Chaitra and Vaisakha, which we call it as March and April. Grishma, Jeshta, Ashada, which is also called as May and June. Varsha, Shravana, Bhadra, which is called as July and August in Western calendar. Sharat, Ashwaija, Kartika, which is called as September and October. Hemanta, Margashira, Pushya, which is called as November and December. Shishira, Magha and Phalguna, which is called as January and February. So, here are the names of the months in Telugu, and to the right side you are having the months according to the Western calendar and the seasons in traditional Indian uh, way. So I think you have understood the differences here. Seasons generally we call it as rainy, winter, and summer, but here we have six seasons which are called as Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharad, Hemanta, and Shishira. And here months are different. Means in according to Indian calendar, the names of the months are different when compared to the Western calendar, like Chaitra, Vaishaka, Jeshta, Ashada, Shravana, Bhadra, Ashwaija, Kartika, Margashira, Pushya, Magha, and Palguna. Whereas in Western calendar we call it as March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So these are the differences in the Telugu and means Indian calendar and Western calendar. So I think you have understood the lesson till here. We'll be continuing the remaining part of the lesson in our next session. Thank you. Have a good day.